1. Alice and I are best friends. I've known her all my life. That is absolutely true. Our moms were in hospital at the same time when they were having us. I got born first, at 6 o'clock in the morning on 3 July. Alice took ages and didn't arrive until 4 in the afternoon. We both had a long cuddle with our moms, and at nighttime we were tucked up next to each other in little weeny cots. I expect Alice was a bit frightened. She'd have cried. She's actually still a bit or a crybaby now, but I try not to tease her about it. I always do my best to comfort her. I bet that first day I called to her in baby coo language. I'd say, "Hi, I'm Gemma. Being born is a bit weird, isn't it? Are you okay?" And Alice would say, "I'm not sure. I'm Alice. I don't think I like it here. I want my mom. We'll see our moms again soon. We'll get fed. I'm starving." I'd have started crying too, in case there was a chance of being fed straight away. I suppose I'm still a bit greedy, if I'm absolutely honest. Not quite as greedy as biscuits though. Munch crunch, in 2 minutes flat. We had this grand biscuit challenge at playtime. I only managed 3/4 of a packet. I probably could have managed a whole packet too, but a crumb went down the wrong way and I choked. I ended up with chocolate biscuit drool all down the front of my white school blouse. But that's nothing new. I always seem to get a bit messy and scruffy and scuffed. Alice stays neat and sweet. When we were babies, one of us crawled right into the rubbish bin and played mud wrestling in the garden and fell in the pond when we fed well. His real name is Billy McVitie, but everyone calls him Biscuits. Even the teachers. He's this boy in our class at school and his appetite is astonishing. He can eat an entire packet of chocolate hobnobs, Munch Crunch, the ducks. The other one of us sat up prettily in her buggy cuddling golden syrup, her yellow teddy bear, and giggled at her naughty friend. When we went to nursery school, one of us played fireman in the water tank and moles in the sand tray, and she didn't stop at finger painting. She did entire body painting. The other one of us sat demurely at the dinky table and made plasticine necklaces, one for each of us, and sang Incy Wincy Spider with all the cute handy gestures. When we went to infant school, one of us pretended to be a wild thing and roared such terrible roars in class she got sent out of the room. She also got into a fight with a big boy who snatched her best friend's chocolate and made his nose bleed. The other one of us read Millie Molly Mandy and wrote stories about a little thatched cottage in the country in her very neat printing. Now we're in the juniors. One of us ran right into the boys' toilets for a dare. She did, really, and they all yelled at her. She also climbed halfway up the drain pipe in the playground to get her ball back, only the drain pipe came away from the wall. They both went crash clonk. Mr. Beaton, the head teacher, was not pleased. The other one of us got made a form monitor and wore her silver sparkly top to the school disco with matching silver glitter on her eyelids, and all the boys wanted to dance with her. But guess what? She danced with her bad best friend all evening instead. We're best friends, but we're not one bit alike. I suppose that goes without saying, though I seem to have said it a lot. My mom says it too, also a lot. For heaven's sake, Gemma, why can't you stop being so rough and silly and boisterous? Boy being the operative bit. To think I was so thrilled when I had my baby girl. But now it's just like I've got 3 boys and you're the biggest tearaway of them all. There's my big brother Callum, who's 17. Callum and I used to be mates. He taught me to skateboard and showed me how to dive bomb in the swimming baths. Every Sunday I'd balance on the back of his bike and we'd wobble over to Granddad's. But now Callum's got this girlfriend Aisha and all they do is look into each other's eyes and go kissy kissy kiss. Yuck! Alice and I played spies and followed them to the park once because we wanted to see if they did anything even yuckier, but Callum caught us and he turned me upside down and shoogled me until I felt sick. There's my other brother Jack, but he's nowhere near as much fun as Callum. Jack is dead brainy, such a swot that he always comes top in every exam. Jack hasn't got a girlfriend. He doesn't get out enough to meet any. He just holes up in his room, hunched over his homework. He does take our dog Barking Matt out for a walk very late at night. And he likes to wear black. And doesn't like garlic bread. Maybe Jack is turning into Jacqueline? I'll have to check his teeth aren't getting alarmingly pointy. It's annoying having Jack as my brother. Sometimes the teachers hope I'm going to be dead brainy too and get 10 out of 10 all the time. As if I can do some things. Mr. Beaton says I can talk the hind leg off a donkey and its front leg and its ears and its tail. He says I act like a donkey too. I think donkeys kick if you're not careful. I often feel like kicking Mr. Beaton. I get lots of ideas and work things out as quick in my head, but it's so boring writing it all down, so I often don't bother. Or I try to get Alice to write it all out for me. Alice gets much better marks than me for all lessons, apart from football. I don't want to boast, but I'm in the school football team even though I'm the youngest and the littlest and the only girl. Alice doesn't like sports at all. We have different hobbies. She likes to draw lines of little girls in party frocks, and she writes in her diary with her gel pens, and she paints her nails all different colors and plays with her jewelry. Alice is into jewelry in a big way. She keeps it in a special box that used to be her grandma's. It's blue velvet, and if you wind it up and open the lid, a little ballet dancer twirls round and round. Alice has got a little gold heart on a chain and a tiny gold bangle she wore when she was a baby, and a jade bangle from an uncle in Hong Kong, and a silver locket, and a Scotty dog sparkly brooch, and a charm bracelet with 10 jingly charms. My favorite charm is a little silver Noah's Ark. You can open it up and see absolutely minute giraffes and elephants and tigers inside. Alice also has heaps of rings, a real Russian gold ring, a Victorian garnet, and lots of pretendy ones out of crackers. She gave me a big bright silver and blue one as a friendship ring. I loved it and called it my sapphire, only I forgot to take it off when I went swimming and the silver went black and the sapphire fell out. Typical, said Mom, sighing. I think Mom sometimes wishes she'd swapped the cots round when we were born. I'm sure she'd much rather have Alice as a daughter. She doesn't say so, but I'm not daft. I'd sooner have Alice as my daughter. I wouldn't, said my dad, and he ruffled my hair so it stood up on end. Well, it was probably standing up anyway. I've got the sort of hair that looks like I'm permanently plugged into the electrics. Mom made me grow it long, but I kept losing my silly bows and bobbles. Then it got a bit sticky when I went in for this giant bubble blowing contest with biscuits and the other boys, and hooray hooray, my hair had to be chopped off. Mom cried, but I didn't mind one bit. I know you're not really meant to have favorites in your family, but I think I love my dad more than my mom. I don't get to see him much because he drives the taxi, and so he's up before I wake up. taking people to the airport. And often he's out till very late picking people up from the pub. When he is home, he likes to lie on the sofa in front of the telly and have a little snooze. It's often a long snooze, but if you're feeling lonely, you can cuddle up beside him. He pats you and mumbles, "Hello, little cuddle bun," and then goes back to sleep again. My granddad used to drive our cab, but he's retired now, though he helps out when the car hire firm need an extra driver. They've got a white Rolls for weddings, and Granddad once took me for a sneaky drive in it. He's lovely, my granddad. Maybe he's my all-time absolute favorite relative. He's always looked after me, right from when I was a baby. Our mom went back to work full-time just as Granddad retired, so he's acted like my childminder. He still meets me from school. We go back to Granddad's flat, which is right at the top of the tower block. You look out of Granddad's window and you see the birds flying past. It's just magical. On a clear day, you can see for miles and miles across the town to the woods and hills of the countryside. Sometimes Granddad narrows his eyes and pretends he's looking through a telescope. He swears he's squinting all the way to the sea, but I think he's joking. He jokes a lot, my granddad. He calls me funny names too. I'm his little iced gem. He always gives me packets of iced gems, small doll-sized biscuits with white and pink and yellow yummy icing. This annoys Mom when she collects me. "I wish you wouldn't feed her," she says to Granddad. She's going to have her tea the minute she gets home. "Gemma, you mind? You clean your teeth properly. I don't like you eating all that sugary stuff." Granddad always says he's sorry, but he crosses his eyes behind Mom's back and pulls a funny face. I get the giggles and annoy Mom even more. Sometimes I think everyone annoys my mom. Everyone except Alice. Mom works in the makeup department of Joseph Pilbeam, the big store, and she gives Alice all these dinky samples of skincare products and little lipsticks and bottles of scent. Once when she was in a really good mood, she sat Alice down at her dressing table and gave her a full grown-up lady's makeup. My mom made me up too, though she told me off for fidgeting well. It was tickly and then my eyes itched and I rubbed them and got that black mascara stuff all over the place, so I looked like a panda. Alice's makeup stayed prettily in place all day long. She didn't even smudge her pink lipstick when she had her tea. It was pizza, but she cut hers up into tiny bite-sized pieces instead of shoving a lovely big wedge in her mouth. If Alice wasn't my very best friend, she might just get on my nerves sometimes, especially when Mom makes a big fuss of her and then looks at me and sighs. Still, it's great that Mom does like Alice because she never minds if she comes for a sleepover at our house. My mom has banned big birthday sleepovers forever. Callum doesn't care, as the only person he'd like to sleep over is Aisha. Jack doesn't care either. He's got a few nerdy swatty friends in year 9, but they don't communicate face to face. They just email and text each other. I've got heaps of ordinary friends as well as my best friend Alice. Last birthday I invited 3 boys and 3 girls for a sleepover party. Alice was top of the list, of course. We were supposed to play out in the garden, but it rained, so we all had a crazy game of football with a cushion in the living room. Well, not quite all. Alice wouldn't play and Biscuits is rubbish at games. Someone broke my mom's wedding present ladro lady and burst the cushion. My mom was so mad she wouldn't let any of them sleep over and sent them all home, except for Alice. I'm still allowed one special friend sleepovers so long as that special friend is Alice. So that's great, because as I've probably said before, Alice is my very best friend. I don't know what I'd do without her.